Today we're going to talk about something called the one-piece flow. This is a concept that transformed the way we run our factory and the way we think. And this is a really simple way to explain one-piece flow. So we've got this dice game. We're going to do an actual live demonstration of 10 products moving through the factory. Then we're going to do a one-piece flow simulation with one product moving through the factory. Let's go. So this is a really visual way to explain one-piece flow using dice. We're going to act as if Paddy is the supplier and we're going to act as if Darren is the customer. So the customer has demanded 10 products. We're going to call them chairs for the purpose of this experiment. Paddy over here is going to turn all the dice to number 1 in a batch. This is a batch scenario and we're going to go ahead and start the timer. So Paddy's going to turn all the dice to number 1 in a batch. So straight away you'll notice that the size of the work area Paddy will need, because he's producing in batches, he needs a huge workstation, a huge work area. So he's batching 10 chairs all at the one time. Meanwhile, the customer at this end is Darren, is waiting. Okay, so now Paddy's going to pass all 10 chairs to the next person in the process in a batch, and Keelan is going to turn them all to number 2. So go ahead and turn them all to 2. And if you're playing this game at your company, you can go fast, you can go slow, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even change the numbers that much. So Keelan's changing them all to 2. Meanwhile, the customer at the very end is still waiting. Okay, so we're now at step 2 and Keelan is now going to pass them on to Kyle. Step 3, so Kyle is going to change all the dice to number 3. So again, they're all in a batch, the customer is still waiting. So now Kyle's going to pass them all to the customer. A key learning here as well is that if we pass a defect to the end customer, we've made 10 with a defect. Whereas on the one-piece flow scenario, if we make one wrong, we have time to catch it and fix that problem before we make any more. So now we're going to show the one-piece flow scenario. So Paddy is going to turn it to 1, pass it straight to Keelan to turn to 2, pass it straight to Kyle to turn to 3, and the customer's going to get it. Okay, so I'm going to start the timer. Ready, steady, go. I've got the timer going. Paddy's turning it to 1, Keelan's turning it to 2, Kyle's turning to 3. And you can see that the customer has got a product in 11 seconds. The second product in 14 seconds. Third product, 19 seconds. Fourth product in 24 seconds. And you can see the flow through this, through production, through the factory. There's less burden on the person doing the work. We're working with smaller work areas, smaller workstations. And in 44 seconds, we've made the same amount of product just because we went from batch to one-piece flow. Before we found out about lean manufacturing, our entire business worked on a batch scenario. We made huge amount of inventory and moved it around our factory in huge batches. Everything was big, workstations were big, we had all this storage for unfinished parts. Then when we went to one-piece flow, everything got better and smaller. And that's our philosophy, better and smaller. Smaller workstations, smaller work areas, less inventory in the racks. We also found that in a batch scenario, if there was a defect hidden in one of the products in a batch, chances are we didn't see it right until the end of the process. But when we changed to one-piece flow, we were doing quality control at every single station and we could catch defects sooner and then make the improvement opportunity so that the rest of them didn't get affected. I think it's important to say not to take one-piece flow literally. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1, but the goal is to have the batch as small as possible. So we used to make in batches of 100, now we might make in batches of 5 or 3 or 2. One-piece flow is a mindset, it's a way of thinking, it's how we communicate, it's how we have meetings at our company, it's how we manufacture product. Smaller is always better. Most people struggle to implement one-piece flow in their organisation because there's no culture in place to accept the change. And this is one of the biggest changes that we've made at our company. We've created a vibrant lean culture where everybody is on board and excited to implement new changes and new improvements.